Here are the results of a little experiment I led concerning EB styles and problem-solving strategies. Using the logical analysis device, John Exner found that strategies differ according to EB styles. The instruction of the apparatus was to turn on the central light using only the 3 lower switches. You can take as much time as you need. The introversives appeared systematic in their approach, performing less operations and repeated errors than the others. The extratensives prefers a trial-and-error strategy using simpler decision-making procedures which allow them to perform a lot of operations in the meantime. Contrasting with these results, the ambitent were found to repeat much more operations and errors than the others. Making a lot of verifications, they seemed uncertain or maybe incoherent in their approach. These results are fundamental since interpretation of EB styles holds such an important place in the interpretation process. Nonetheless, they pose some problems. The first deal with interpretation. Actually, logical analysis procedures are extended to any type of problems, and for sure, people don't need logical analysis daily. Then, the confrontation of these results to the French normative data are confusing. About 35% of the sample is ambitent, which constitutes quite a lot of incoherence in France. Finally, problem-solving activity is a complex construct, and we would like to know more things on this topic. Another remark can be made concerning Exner's results. Actually, the ability to solve a problem is quite different from the ability to find a solution. This point is quite clear, and anyone can remember the time he didn't get the point at the mathematics exam, even though the final results were good, but the operations were wrong. Considering the facts that the ambitents made a lot of verifications and that it took more time to study the problem, one could presume that they were the ones who get the best representations of the device in the end. Of course, the truthfulness of this assertion can be decided, for representations were not tested in the Exner experiment. So, we wish to know more things about the correctness of the solution, its evolution and stabilization, and about the way the solution can be reused on a similar problem. Our hypotheses were that the ambitents are less efficient, but that they get better representation of the problem in the end. Thus, their performances will be increased in a transfer situation, that means reusing the solution. The idea was that the ambitents do not focus on performances. This idea is wrong because in the present experiment, ambitents presented by far the best performances. Nevertheless, the second part of the hypothesis is true, ambitents do have better representation of the problem. We chose maze as a problem situation. The maze measures in some extent spatial navigation, which is an important cognitive ability for beings. The subjects go through the maze using a pencil while blindfolded. Once they go out of the maze, they are asked to draw it, still blindfolded, so we can have some ideas concerning the representation of the maze. The subjects are told that there are 2 phases in the experiment. First, they have to learn the maze, which means that they have to perform 3 perfect trials in a row. This is a step-by-step procedure, so we can see the evolution and the stabilization of the solution. Once the maze is learned, it is reversed upside down and the subjects have to make a complete learning once again. This is a transfer of knowledge situation. In the experiment, we can find some differences between the groups in the learning phase, but the major ones are revealed in the transfer phase. Concerning the control of the experiment, 24 volunteers aged from 18 to 25 recruited on the university campus were administered the RCS and the maze test. Every subject took a different maze and their performances were videotaped. The maze test was scored according to the videos. Every maze are simple and present the same difficulty. Subjects were assigned to experimental groups according to their EB styles. Because of the small size of the sample, it was impossible to control Rorschach variables. Nevertheless, by excluding subjects, we managed to get homogeneous groups for those variables which effects on performances are known. There is one subject with a 0 in the EB among the introversive and among the extratensives. In the end, we get 5 introversives, 5 extratensives, and 6 ambitents. The only variable we could not control is EB pervasive. It concerns 2 introversives, but fortunately, this variable only effect is on total time, which concern performances and not strategies. All Rorschach protocols were scored independently and consensus scoring achieved. Professor Andronikov, the second scorer, was naive to the performances of the subjects.